that one, right? Obviously, that's Brandon Beane on Monday about all the criticism he received for the Bills not drafting a receiver. Yesterday, though, they did sign Elijah Moore to a one-year deal worth up to $5 million. Josh Allen, he's got to be the best quarterback that Moore's played with, so it'll be interesting to see what Moore does there. Okay, let's go to our former GM first. What did you think of the way he addressed the situation, Brandon Beane?
You know, Hannah, it's really hard to relate to this. GM getting criticized.
Yeah, I know. Never happens, does it?
I can't relate to this at all. You know, look, you got to ask question after question about your vulnerability, what's ever perceived to be. And I think Brandon's like, you know what? We got a really good team. Do your homework. Ask me something different. I'm sure he was exhausted. He's a great guy. He's very confident. He has a lot to be proud of. So I think it was probably the wrong question on the wrong day.
Well, keeping receipts, though, to go all the way back to the Josh Rosen criticism.
Yes,
Mina, we saw you there. It was great that you were featured in that little piece. But they did go defense with their first 5 picks. So, I mean, what's your assessment of that draft in terms of their offense?
I think it makes sense that the draft was focused on defense. I'll start there. This offense was second league-wide in DVOA last year. The defense was 11th, which is still really good, obviously, but I do think there was a need to add talent, particularly on the defensive line and at cornerback, which is exactly what they did in the draft. And to go back to the offense and why they were so good last year, it's an offense that's really built inside out. The strength of the offense, outside of course Josh Allen, is the offensive line. They have a dominant run game. They have a lot of really good receivers, a lot of similar receivers, slot receivers, and I think they're betting on development from Keon Coleman, who was their first-round draft pick last year. Now, I stand by what I said in that clip. I do wish they had a little bit more speed in this group, but it is an excellent group, and when you got Josh Allen at quarterback, you have a guy who raises the floor of everybody.
And for me, this is under the axiom of, like, the good teams are the ones that let their opponents beat them before they ever beat themselves. If you look at Josh Allen last year, only 6 interceptions, only sacked 14 times. And sometimes the greatest improvement, and Amina just touched on it a little bit, is when your returning young players get better. So Keon Coleman's one, but you think about, Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir. They're a little bit older, but I expect them to get better. But this is an offense that, to me, it's well coached. They were third in point differential, which speaks to the fact that they did score points, even though they don't have that explosive element. And then defensively, again, the offseason is a continuum. They signed a couple of players that are going to be suspended, so they sort of doubled down, and I thought that was really smart. And if you have to pick up a receiver like Elijah Moore, like you mentioned, Hannah, you can do that later on in the offseason. So I'm not going to disagree with Brandon Beane. I don't want to get yelled at.
Obviously. Mina?
I'm glad you mentioned Dalton Kincaid, because when I talked about development, I focused on Coleman. But, Mike, you're absolutely right. Like, that's a player who I just feel like still – his ceiling is a lot higher than what we have seen from him in the NFL. You've seen flashes of it, why they took him in the first round. I mean, he, to me, when we talk about guys who can really threaten vertically and make this offense more explosive, that's the kind of tight end he was in college. He is a seam stretcher. He's got wonderful hands downfield, but he hasn't become as dominant as I think his draft status and his potential, the tape suggests he could be. I mean, I thought this Bills offense would be living in 12 personnel with him and Knox, but they haven't quite hit that, and that's something I would look for this year. If Kincaid can hit another level, then I think we won't be complaining about the receiving group.
Yeah, 6 of their 9 picks were on the defensive side. No offense until they take another tight end in round 5. All right, time to get you caught up on some of the best things we heard this week. Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon was asked about Marvin Harrison Jr. and expectations for him this upcoming season.
From year 1 to year 2, I think that's where guys make a huge jump. And this guy played unbelievable ball for us. But if you talk to him, he'd be the first to tell you, I need to get better at these couple things. And, man, he has went to work on them. And I'm really excited to see where his game goes. The guy's a ready-made pro. He does all the right things. He was here the whole offseason. I think he added a little bit of muscle mass. He looks a little bit bigger. All his numbers, his metrics are all better than when we got him. I'm not going to speak truth into the universe, but just wait until this guy plays this year.
Mina, what do you think? What sort of leap do you expect from him?
Yeah, I think a big one, because Marvin Harrison Jr., his rookie season didn't live up to his potential where he was drafted, but there were flashes of the dominant receiver we saw in college. There were games where he looked like the best rookie receiver. The Rams game you're seeing there, he was so explosive on those deep overs. And then I thought the final game of the season as well, week 18, you really saw that big frame, contested catch ability, how incredible a route runner he is at his size. He just has to put it together, I think, more consistently and not disappear in games. And it sounds like he's going to do that.
Yep, should have a big year, too. Okay, now you might have missed this. Falcons general manager Terry Fontenot spoke about the team's plans for Kirk Cousins.
We just have to be patient there. We're open with it, not just talking about Kirk, but with really anybody on our roster. I've probably talked to already 6 or 7 GMs since the draft has ended. If something comes to us with Kirk or any other player that makes sense and it's going to help this team, then we're going to be aggressive and we're going to do it. We always have to ask that question. Is it the best for the Atlanta Falcons? And if it is, we're going to be willing to do it. But all that communication is always ongoing.
Mikey T, what should they do with Cousins?
Have to trade him. This player is one play away from going in at the quarterback position. He doesn't want to be there. That's been well documented. What's complicating here, guys, is the guarantees. About $37.5 million left to guarantee over 2 years, which is how much of it is Atlanta going to eat? How much is the acquiring team? So not only are you talking about draft choice compensation, Hannah, but the guaranteed money is the part that, to me, is going to be harder to resolve.
Meanwhile, Minnesota has their quarterback, second-year QB J.J. McCarthy, asked if he's ready to start, and he did not hesitate. Take a listen.
I know I'm ready to start. I appreciate that question, Kevin, because all the work I put in and just the confidence in my skills and abilities and just being able to do my job and simplify things to, the best of my ability every single day and, just take it one day at a time, one play at a time. And, I have a tremendous coaching staff, a tremendous group of guys around me that I can lean on, and they can lean on me.
Mina, how confident are you in JJ as the starter?
Well, I have no idea how he's going to look, but I'll tell you this. He is walking into a hell of a situation. We saw that, of course, last year with the Vikings with Sam Darnold. We know how good the receiving group is, but they addressed what was their biggest weakness at the end of last year, and that's the interior of the offensive line. Drafting Donovan Jackson, who's a guard, in the first round. Signing players basically from the Indianapolis Colts, Kelly and Will Fries. So J.J. McCarthy is going to be protected. They already have a very good tackle duo, and that gives me confidence in his ability and his what is a redshirt rookie season.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see. All right, now we have a bonus in case you missed it for our former Jets GM. And this is Justin Fields throwing to Garrett Wilson. Oh, happy day. They're reunited, and it feels so good. Oh, that looks so good. What are your expectations for the Jets, my friend?
Anna, I had a hand in hiring Dan Campbell in Miami when he was the 12-game interim head coach. I had a hand in helping the Jets with Aaron Glenn. They're the same person. This is going to be the Detroit Lions East, and when you think about toughness, I think about Justin Fields maybe being the toughest quarterback out there and Garrett Wilson being a great player. So it's Ohio State East here, but it's really going to be the Detroit Lions. Aaron Glenn's going to have this team well coached. They're going to run the ball. They'll use play action. And I think these two together are going to be fun to watch.
And he's a culture setter as well, right?
Absolutely. You'll look at things like penalties, turnovers. I expect that all to be much better this year.
Okay, good. I love it. Doesn't that just make you happy in your heart, your Jets? Drake May spoke earlier today. What'd you take away from the second-year QB there, Mike? And happy May.
Happy May, Hannah. Well, let's talk about Mike Vrabel, the first-year head coach, and how Drake May has noticed the impact that he has already made. Mike Vrabel said when he was first hired here, he wanted to galvanize this building, galvanize this team, and he's done so with May, who's noticed pop quizzes for players, or just Vrabel asking for more energy in the hallway. So he's taken note of the Vrabel effect.
It's been great with Coach. He's come in here, and it seems like he's been here a while. He's so comfortable being in head coach. He's done it before. He's done it at a high level, won a lot of games. So I'm looking forward to getting things going. You can see he's trying to install the new identity, and I think we're building towards that. And I think it's coming here and have your head on the swivel and get to work. I think that's kind of the vibe I've caught.
Turns out that Mike Vrabel needs to have his head on a swivel too. Hannah, one of the great stories over the last month here with the Patriots is that Vrabel went down to work out first-round draft pick Will Campbell about a week before the draft, and he brought his own blocking pad because he wanted to be the one to work out Campbell one-on-one. And Campbell put Vrabel on his butt. And Vrabel joked that they are going to scrub that video from the team system because he doesn't want it to see the light of day.
Hence, of course, the coach was impressed and drafted him. So there you go. There's a happy ending to that story, and it's a good one. Mike Reese in Foxborough, thank you. So from one first-round offensive lineman drafted by the Patriots to another one, better late than never. I know you were depressed about the Lakers. It took you a while to get into the show, Damian Woody. What do you think about that story about Vrabel?
Oh, that's typical Mike Vrabel. He's always he's a very what I call hands-on approach when it comes to players and evaluations and being heavily involved in these type of drills. And you know, I want to get that tape. I want to get my hands on that tape of Mike Vrabel because he's known to be pulling those type of stunts. But that's the way Mike Vrabel is, and I think that's why he's so good with players.
That tape is locked in a vault somewhere. Mikey T, did you ever work anybody out in person?
Yeah, it wasn't Damian Woody, though.
I knew you were going to say that. Okay, all right, moving on. The most talked about storyline in the draft continues to be Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders falling to the Cleveland Browns in the 5th round. And yesterday, the Browns released the moment when Sanders finally got the real phone call that he was waiting for. Take a listen.
We're going to take you off the board here, all right, brother?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Hey, listen. You got to come in, you got to work hard, you got to earn your job, earn your keep. And it doesn't matter where you're taking, it matters what you do from this point forward, all right? Talented, I spent a lot of time with you, a good kid. Let's get ready to go to work and improve on you past what we want.
I love it. The motivation. Cleveland, so fascinating. They also took Dylan Gabriel, of course, earlier in the draft in the 3rd round. So they're the first team to draft 2 quarterbacks within the first 5 rounds since Washington did it back in 2012 with a couple of guys you may have heard of, Robert Griffin III and the aforementioned Kirk Cousins. Deshaun Watson continues to rehab from that torn Achilles. Cleveland also signed 40-year-old Joe Flacco, and they traded with the Eagles for Kenny Pickett. And then there's this. Jordan Reed released his way too early first-round mock draft for 2026 on ESPN.com. The Browns are going to have a pair of first-round picks next year, and believe it or not, Jordan has the Browns trading to get the number 1 pick and take Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik. I mean, I don't know about you, but that's a total of 5 quarters. We got rookie training camp beginning next week, so a couple of them will be in action. D. Woody, how should they handle this?
Well, Hannah, listen, if I'm Kevin Stefanski, my focus would be on the 2 drafted players. We know what Joe Flacco is, and we know what Kenny Pickett is. We know in 2026 they have 2 first-round picks. So I think for the Cleveland Browns, the priority should be trying to find out if one of these 2 rookie quarterbacks could be your long-term solution. Kevin Stefanski is one of the best play callers in the National Football League, and so I think both these guys will have a great opportunity to really try to establish themselves this year and this year only.
Kind of, that's right. Like Joe Flacco's kind of like the Damian Woody of this show. You're going to have to load manage him because obviously he can't get through the whole season the way this guy can't get through the whole show. I digress. But I'm all in on Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, and for 2 reasons. One, we just drafted them. Let's see what they can do. I think they're both, for different reasons, a good fit in this offense. But more fundamentally, Cleveland did an outstanding job, guys. They got Jacksonville's number 1 pick. When you're picking in the top 5 and you have a franchise quarterback, you have a massive amount of needs. I love Travis Hunter. I hate the value of that trade for Jacksonville. Cleveland very well could have a top 5 pick, Hannah. You have to know what you have in those 2 quarterbacks so you can make the best decisions for 2026 and beyond.
Right. And I mean, going into camp, right? But it's going to start next week because we're going to see those 2 rookies. But, Mina, when you look at sort of the breadth, really the 4 available quarterbacks, we're not counting Deshaun Watson. Obviously, he's not playing. Who's the best fit under center, do you think, for them in week 1 right now?
Well, I don't know yet, but I think what the Browns have to figure out is of this group, and I agree with Damian, by the way, I think the focus should be the young quarterbacks. Who fits the offense? Usually when there's a rookie quarterback, we say, okay, what kind of offense can they build around this quarterback tailored to his skill sets, Cam Ward, Jackson Dart? But that's not how I feel about the Browns. I think we know what this Browns offense is going to look like. It's going to be run first. They drafted 2 running backs, by the way, both of whom I like a lot. In Judkins and Dylan Sampson. And then they also added a tight end, Harold Fanta Jr. There's going to be a lot of multiple tight end sets. It's Kevin Stefanski's offense. Going to be a decent amount of under center, play action. So I think for these quarterbacks, Sanders, Gabriel, Pickett, who can operate it? That's what I want to see. Who's better at executing play fakes, throwing on the move off of boots, handling those play fakes? Ball handling is part of this as well. Because I think for Cleveland, evaluating them through that lens is going to